מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בינות דשא ירביצני, עמי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי שובב, ינחני במגלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגיא המוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. A Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me to water in places of repose. He renews my life, guides me in right paths as befits his name. Though I walk through a valley of deepest darkness, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread a table for me in full view of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My drink is abundant. Only goodness and steadfast love shall pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for many long years. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and to everyone who found their way here online. I'm Cantor Leslie Emery, and it's my honor to be here with you officiating the funeral of Gertude Nepon, who is known to the Jewish people as Gitel bat Shimon Dov ve'Esther. Gertude passed away on Boxing Day, December 26th, at the age of 99. Gertude was one of 7 children and will be mourned by her youngest sister, Brownie Fleischman. Her 4 brothers, Mo, Fred, and Jack Pierce, and her sister, Patty Sherman, have already passed away. Gertude was born and raised in Winnipeg to Benjamin and Esther Pierce. Gertude is here online today. Well, not Gertude, Brownie is here online today, remembering Gertude, of course. And Brownie, I'm sorry for your loss. Brownie sent some memories in to share on her perspective about her sister. Now, Gertude didn't like to be called Gertrude, from what I understand, so we're going to stick with Gertude today. Gertude was extremely organized, a true perfectionist. She always remembered everyone's birthdays and anniversaries. Every detail mattered to her. She dotted every I and crossed every T. Brownie and Gertude's relationship with their older sister Patty was very close. They never argued. They were always talking and stayed closely connected over the years. Their bond was strong, peaceful, and loving. Even when Gertude had trouble physically, she never complained. One day, Gertude was driving her 1966 purple Mustang, which I wish I could have seen, when a bee flew into the vehicle. Startled, she jumped out of the moving car while her car rolled into a curb. She fractured her arm on the door, and though she was obviously injured, she never complained of pain. She was a really tough woman. At the age of 21, Gertude married the love of her life, David Nepon. They had 3 sons together who grew up and found their own partners. Alan with Riva, Mark and Leslie, and Jack and Carla. Gertude loved her boys, and the most important thing to her mind was that the family stayed together and got along. Her sons describe her as a great mom who always had a smile when she saw you, even on a bad day. As the boys grew up, Gertie enjoyed family time at Winnipeg Beach. She took great pride in her home, keeping it spotless and in order. She had a huge collection of recipes, which she followed carefully each time she cooked. And I understand, for those who may want those recipes, they're digitized somewhere if you're looking. Gertie took great pleasure in following the accomplishments of her grandchildren, Haley, Josh, Taryn, Jordan, Hillary with Ariel, and David. She was known to remember everyone's occasions and enjoyed hosting an annual Hanukkah gathering for the family in her home. Her sons describe Gertie as a fighter, someone with tenacity to find her way through life's difficulties. In 1988, Gertie's husband, David, passed away. Gertie continued living in her condo for another 35 years on her own. Her good friend, Jeanette Zimmer, lived nearby and provided tech support for their group of friends. Gertie continued driving until she was in her mid-90s, though apparently she was sometimes mistaken for the Google car, as you could only see her hands on the steering wheel. As she aged, one of her pleasures in life was gathering with her friend group and playing bridge and mahjong. As she got further into her 90s, more friends passed away, and she found herself to be the last from her friend group. After some health issues, Gertie finally had to give up driving and made the move to the Simpkins Center about a year ago. The family would like to thank her caregiver, Brenda, who helped stretch her time out at her condo, as well as the staff at the Simpkins Center for their support during this time in Gertie's life. Gertie lived a full and beautiful life. To her family, I'm sorry for your loss. May her memory be a blessing. I'd now like to invite Gertie's youngest son, Jack, to speak and share some thoughts.
I want to thank Cantor Emery for those lovely words. I think you captured my mom's spirit very well. Again, I do want to thank the Simpkins Center, particularly Weinberg too, staff, for their compassion and treatment of my mother during some hard times. She was there for about 13 months until her passing on Boxing Day. Her caregiver, Brenda, was at her condominium for 2 years, giving her some good support. I'd like to thank Brenda for that. Family, friends, anyone online, thank you for gathering here today to celebrate the life of my mom, Gertude Rose Nepon. I'm Jack, the youngest son, and of course, the favorite of the three brothers. Actually, my mom would say she loved all three brothers the same. They were all her favorites. I'm here to honor a remarkable woman who graced this world for 99 years and 6 months. Would have been 100, June 1st. Mom was born on June 1st, 1926, and throughout her life, she faced multiple challenges. She had very severe heart disease for many years, but she didn't complain about that. She always remained very positive. Despite these obstacles, she demonstrated extraordinary strength and determination, living independently for close to 35 years after my father's death in 1988. Even when her mobility waned, can you hear me okay? Even when her mobility waned and breathing became a struggle, the last few years she held steadfast to her wish to stay in her own condo, refusing to enter a nursing home until her health failed and she had no other choice. For the last 2 years of her life, Mom expressed a desire to pass peacefully in her sleep, a wish inspired by her dear friend, who was mentioned by the cantor, who had done just that while my mom was recovering from a broken hip, I think about 2.5, 3 years ago. Though she endured immense suffering every day, Mom greeted me with that huge smile. I call it the Gertie smile. I think I inherited it. That really defined her spirit. It was a smile that could light up any room, a testament to her resilience and positivity. Even in her final days at the Simpkins Center, Mom had that classic smile, an enduring symbol of her love for life. Mom was a cherished friend to many. In fact, she made a list on her computer of all the many friends she knew, played bridge with, or mahjong. There were dozens of those names, and she outlived them all. She was the last remaining of her friends. My mom was an amazing woman and a very loving mother to me and my brothers, Alan and Mark. Her incredible capacity for love extended to our wives, Carla, Revelyn, and Leslie. To our children, Taryn and David, Jordan and Hillary, and Haley and Josh, and to their partners. Her heart was filled with joy, and she took pride in being a grandmother. My mom often reminisced about her younger sister, Auntie Brownie, the last remaining sibling from her family. Their bond was special, and she cherished the conversations they had, especially when Brownie was in Hawaii. Those stories brought her happiness and comfort. Many of those stories were shared by the cantor. I appreciate that. Mom was known for her organization and meticulousness, keeping her home in order with everything in its place, a stark contrast to my own habits. I remember she loved using the K-tail hamburger stacker to ensure that all burgers looked exactly the same shape, same thickness, same weight. Rice Krispie treats, which she loved making, exactly the same dimensions. She was very, very organized. I wouldn't say she was OCD, but she certainly kept a very clean home, and she loved her bubble baths, which she had daily. My father, David, was the love of my mother's life. They shared almost 40 years of marriage, a partnership built on love and respect. Losing him when I was only 34 years old left a void in her heart that never truly healed. I find solace in believing that they are now reunited, together in peace for eternity. She was the best mother I could have asked for, always ready to provide for my brothers and me, ensuring we had everything we needed. Today, as we gather to remember her, I want to say, Mom, I love you. I'll miss you deeply. Please say hi to Dad for me. Thank you all for being here today and online to honor her life and legacy. Your presence means the world to our family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. That was beautifully said. I'd like to invite Gertie's grandson, David, to share some thoughts on his grandma. Was she a grandma or a baba? She was a baba, Baba Gertie.
Thank you very much. For those who don't know me, I'm David. I'm one of 6 grandchildren. So when I was thinking about what to write for my Baba, the very first word that came to mind was family. That's what defined her. Family meant everything to her. She was loyal and endlessly loving to her 3 children and her 6 grandchildren. Alan, Mark, and Jack, they were quite rambunctious back in the day and apparently rule breakers. So Baba Gertie, being a great mother that she is, I never fully understood how she put up with the 3 boys, which my grandchildren don't have any of those traits. So from all the stories I've heard, this one really stood out. So when Mark, Alan, and Jack would, break some rules, Baba Gertie would chase them around with a shoe and try to throw a shoe at them every time they would break a rule, which would be often. But she did a great job raising them because they're all extremely successful and they have great families. So she never said one bad word about them or any bad words about any of her grandchildren, no matter what. One thing was always clear. She was always there, no matter what. Recently, I flew to Winnipeg to visit her, and I introduced her to my girlfriend, Nicola. Baba was so happy to meet her. She had that classic grin on her face, the one that says everything without saying a word. She kept telling me how lovely Nicola is, and you can see how much joy it brought her. She truly lit up when I asked her about her other grandchildren. Even that moment, she was thinking about everyone else but herself. She was so proud of her grandchildren. At one point, she said something that really stayed with me. She said, "You just have to do your best to smile even when you're suffering." And she showed so much resilience and toughness. She was always smiling no matter what. It was a sad thing to hear, but it showed me just how tough she was, how strong she was, and how she carried herself with grace no matter what she was facing. That strength has stayed with me, and it's inspired me to live my own life with more resilience, more gratitude, and more love, just like she did. Baba Gertie taught us what family truly means, not through words, but through the way she lived every single day. I love you, Baba, and I'll miss you. Thank you.
That was beautifully said. I feel like sometimes these moments really are a moment of clarity for us, where we really look at a human being, not just as a mom or a grandma, but also as their impact on our own lives and the wisdom they shared and how we shape one another. In Judaism, we always say, may someone's memory be a blessing, and may Gertie's memory be a blessing. But when you talk about sharing those values and the things she taught you, about being more grateful or being more loving in life or even facing tough things with a smile, in those ways, her presence is very present in your life as you walk through the world. We're going to continue at this time with the El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer. You're invited to rise. El Malei Rachamim, shochen bamromim, ametzeh menucha nechona, tachat kanfei HaShekhinah, B'malot kedoshim utehorim, kezohar harakia mazhirim, et nishmat Gito bat Shimon dov Esther, shelcha leolama, v'gan Eden tehei menuchata, Hana bal harachamim, hastireha b'seter kenafecha, l'olamim, utzeror b'tzror achayim, et nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom amishkava, v'nomar Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Gertie Nepon, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. We're going to continue at this time with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam lamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. You can be seated. Thank you all so much for joining us today and for honoring Gertie in this way. Following the funeral, there will be a meal of consolation here at Shaarey Zedek. And Shiva will also be observed at the home of Alan and Riva Nepon, Monday from 7 to 9 p.m., Tuesday from 2 to 4, and 7 to 9 p.m., with services at 7:30 p.m. Shiva is a wonderful time for not only comforting a family, but collecting stories. And so if you do make a Shiva call and a visit and you have stories that the family hasn't heard yet, it's a beautiful thing to share at that time. In lieu of flowers, if it's meaningful to you, you're welcome to make a donation to a charity of your choice in Gertie's memory. As her kids said, she was very open-minded. One of the ways that someone's presence that can continue to be felt in the world after they've passed away is by acts of charity and kindness in their name or carrying on their good works. I'd like to invite the pallbearers and the family to make their way at this time and those here to rise as they exit. Shortly, we're going to continue to the cemetery at 235 Armstrong Avenue. For those of us here, we're going to be patient for a few moments as the family gets settled in the cars. If you are joining us at the cemetery, I ask that you observe traffic laws and turn on your four-way lights on your way there. The cemetery can be slippery, so please be careful if you're joining us, and it's good to have a buddy to walk with. Look around for those on their own and help out if you can. Once we're ready to exit, we're going to form two lines where Gertie will be carried through between us on her way to the hearse. Just a couple more moments and we'll be ready. Thank you again for joining us. You can make your exit now, and I'll meet you out there shortly.